Okay, last stage, stage 5, nutrient cycling. So this is actually quite important. We're going to look at some of the more humans interfering with some of the nutrients and the problems that causes. Now this is one that comes up a lot. So that's why I'm focusing on looking at the past. Eutrophication is a very important concept to understand. Okay, so if you look at this diagram, or this picture actually, you notice that the water here is very green. Okay, so this is all algae, and so this is called an algae bloom. So algae is little photosynthetic one-celled organisms, and they basically reproduce like crazy when you have extra nitrates and phosphates. So we talked about nitrogen and phosphorus cycle. So when we have extra nitrates and phosphates, what happens is you get a huge bloom. And so the huge bloom will produce all this extra algae on the surface. So that will actually block out a lot of the sunlight that the native plants here need. So then these plants start dying out. Okay? So eventually the algae will do the same. They'll overgrow their environment and use up too much nitrates, phosphates, and they will die themselves. So then they float to the bottom. So they go down. And so what's left now, we have the nitrates and phosphates were promoted this bloom. So they produce the algae, blocks out the sun, kills the local plants. Then these eventually die. They all fall to the bottom, and this is our buddy, the bacteria. And bacteria are great decomposers, but they respire like we do. So while they're decomposing, while they're breaking down all these dead algae and dead plants, they're using up oxygen because they respire like we do. If you remember cell respiration, you need oxygen. So they're going to use up all the oxygen in the water, which is going to have an effect on the local species. The local species of fish are now oxygen deprived, and if certain fish can tolerate lower amounts of oxygen, but most are very sensitive. So then you get a share of the fish that are dying, and so therefore it's impacting the ecosystem in the next stage, the next trophic level. So this is all called eutrophication. Now, looking at, nitrogen, or not nitrogen, but nutrient cycling, there have been many projects. This is one project that was done in the UK called the Eden Project. And what they're trying to do is establish a closed system. So what they did is they sealed off environments, and they just had sunlight coming in as their energy source. And they saw, okay, can we totally recycle everything? And if you remember the movie Martian, that's what he did to survive when he had to use his own waste to grow potatoes and such like that. So they seal people and plants and such in these environments. The U.S. has had a couple of these too, because this is a realistic test. So if they ever colonize other planets, they have to be able to recycle everything. So remember, matter can get, transformed into different stages of matter. So it doesn't go away, but you can reuse it in different forms. Okay, so this pretty much concludes section C.2. And just to give you a little heads up, you see this. Let's just say this is not a branch. Just food for thought. Have a good day. See you later.